Hey guys, today we're back answering questions from the internet, round two. Let's do it. First question here, is Omega heading in the same direction as TAG Heuer? I don't know, that's a weird question. I've never heard anybody relate the two in terms of company direction. So I guess my overall answer would be no. I think that TAG Heuer has never quite been Omega in terms of quality, distribution, where they stand in the market. Omega is a much better brand, I would say, and they sell more watches, they make more watches, bigger company. I think that Omega has its own trials and tribulations and maybe slippery slope that they have to overcome, but I don't necessarily see them being on any kind of same course direction as TAG Heuer. So I would say Omega is on the forefront of where TAG desires to go. Similar customer base, but at an entry-level price point. So most people that are buying a TAG will graduate towards buying an Omega after the fact, but certain things like the newer Octavias are certainly bringing those type of customers, sub $2,000, $2,500 watches into the space, and then maybe graduate into a ceramic Submariner eventually with Rolex, or with Omega, obviously the Seamaster 42mm being their newer offerings, probably going to be the more popular option in a $4,000 price point. Question number two, are dress watches dead or are they just dying? It's kind of a left field question. I guess it depends on what kind of watches you like. I personally prefer dress watches. My days of wearing a three-piece suit are largely behind me. So I don't really own any dress watches. I don't know that I would say that they're dead or that they're dying necessarily. They are becoming a little bit more what they've always been, which is a refined taste. You know, collectors prefer dress watches for high complication pieces, mostly because those pieces don't really exist in steel. Minute repeaters, grand complications are generally found in a higher price point. Maybe that's why some of the steel Nautilus pieces, the 5712s, are now starting to pick up steam, 5980s over the base model pieces. But in general, I just think that a dress watch will never die. They may become more of a refined collection status symbol. Maybe some of the entry-level dress watches are hurting, and that might be what prompted your question. So brands like Tissot, Longines, starter brands that enter, you know, a $2,000 to $3,000 price point for dress watches might be hurting because not a lot of people are buying entry-level dress watches. But I do believe that dress watches will always kind of be the pinnacle staple of like a high-end collection. Hey, which watch would you guys recommend? A JLC Master Ultra Thin Moon, a Reverso, or a Cartier Santos in medium steel? Kind of different watches, I would say. I don't know that they're necessarily in the same wheelhouse. I guess I would guess that you are trending towards something a little bit more dressy, but can be worn on a daily basis. In that sense, I would probably pick the JLC Ultra Moon. It's going to be, from a value retention standpoint and for something that has staying power in the collection, I think that that's the winner. Between those three watches, obviously there are many Reversos that I would pick over a Master Ultra Thin Moon, but they're not going to be your basic Reversos. So to stay in the same price point, you're probably looking at like a 1931 or just a simple smaller Reverso, time only. And in that case, I think you go with the Master Ultra Moon. I think you get more complication, more staying power. Like I said, you'll be 10 years in with the watch before you realize it and maybe think about replacing it with something else. I think the Cartier is more of a fashion option at that point. The Santos is a cool watch, the newer one, but something that in a couple months you might regret, in my personal experience. All right, next question here. Great content. First, thank you. Thank you for supporting the channel. On September 2017, I bought a Patek 5167R and I really love it until summer when short sleeves time had come. I was ashamed of wearing it. Too much bling for me. I've just sold it and will be going for a Patek 5164A or a Daytona 116519 LN ceramic. What would you pick? Considering I own a Patek 5712G an AP 15202, and an Omega Speedmaster 60th anniversary. I think you mean 50th, which would be the current anniversary piece. All right, so first and foremost, thank you again for watching the content. For all you guys who are writing questions to the content, which allows us to do this show. We'll touch on that later. But so recent purchase, right? September 2017. Regret for being the piece. First of all, I think maybe we take a look at why you might not want to wear it. That might be, you know, a personal question. Obviously, the 5167R, or man, it might not be obvious, in my opinion, is the superior piece. That watch is absolutely gorgeous. I've always liked that watch. I can kind of understand what you're saying. Short sleeves may make you a little bit, you know, it might be a little too rich. But that being said, looks like you have some other watches in your collection. The 5712G is a very, you know, stealth wealth or under the radar type piece. The 15202 is a very under the radar kind of steel piece. So maybe the 5167R could have lived on in your collection in the box for 6 months. But that being said, you said you sold the watch already. The question is, which one would I pick? Being that you own a 5712 already, I probably would say go with the Daytona. You're not gonna get hurt buying a Daytona. It's versatile. I'm assuming the piece you're looking at is probably an Oyster Flex, which is gonna be sporty. And that probably rounds out. So the 15202 is gonna be on a bracelet. You know, having the Oyster Flex and kind of the sportier aspect of the Daytona might suit the collection better. Only in the sense that you already have the 5712. So buying a 5164 at market, probably gonna be a hard choice, but I'd say go with the Daytona. I am new to watches and looking into Submariners. Have I missed the boat? Hey, Submariners. No, I don't think you've missed the boat. You may have, I guess that depends on your purse strings. You may have missed getting one at retail and or getting one quickly at retail. Watches can still be had, you can find them. Takes a little time, takes a little knowing the right people, but you can still get them. And if you can't get one quickly at retail, you can get one quickly over retail. You can probably get a pre-owned one at retail, depending on how old it is. But if you're new to watches, congratulations, first of all. Thank you for watching our content, and hopefully we have something to do with you wanting to get into watches. I think the Submariner is probably a really good choice for you. If you have the funds, I would recommend a ceramic piece right away. If you have the wrist for it as well, maybe the 16610 generation, if you have a smaller wrist, might fit you better. Something to consider. So it really just comes down to what you're comfortable wearing and how much money you're looking to spend. So to answer your question, no, everybody can afford to wait and get what they want, or afford to skip the line and pay a little extra. But Submariner is a great piece in anybody's collection. I've said it before, and it's something that I think if you start with it and eventually upgrade, you know, to a different quantification of pieces, you like AP eventually, you want to get dress watches, the Sub will always have a spot, and it doesn't really grow old. And if you decide that one day it's not for you anymore, it'll definitely be the easiest watch you own to get rid of. So that's a bonus. Alternatively, if your concern is that you've missed the boat in terms of a fashion capacity, if there's too many subs, if now everybody has one, then I would probably recommend taking a look at either one, my recommendation would be an Explorer 2, which I have a 216570. It's a little bit larger watch, so kind of goes back to how big is your wrist and how do you want the watch to wear. There is a 16570, which is the 40mm version, also a fantastic watch. Nice complication, good sports watch, has some presence on the wrist, identifiably a Rolex. Same kind of price point, a little bit easier to get, I would say, than a Submariner. So there's that option. The other piece that I would recommend that a lot of people don't really talk about is the Yachtmaster 40. Essentially just a dressier Submariner. So I guess that would depend if you could pull it off for daily. I think the Explorer 2 is probably what I would recommend in terms of one watch, you're gonna wear it all day. Great way to start the collection. All right, guys, that's gonna wrap up this Q&A. round 2. Listen, I really appreciate you guys. Thursday nights, trading desk, watch live, comment, drop questions, and if I don't see them there, we'll get to them in these. And thanks again for watching.